This is my very first ASMR video, and I'm not using anything fancy, obviously. It's just standard recording on my computer, with my computer mic actually. But I felt like I had to make something or else I would never end up starting at all, and I really wanted to try this at some point. So for my very first video, I'm actually just gonna do something really simple and recommend some ASMR channels that either I really like or I think might fulfill a specific niche or interest for certain people really well. There are a lot more ASMRtists that I enjoy listening to, but I thought this was a good set that covered a variety of areas. Well, at least a sort of variety of purposes and interests, but most of them are still largely roleplay, because that's really what I enjoy listening to. And if that's not something you like, then this probably isn't the best list for you. Okay, so my first person here is ASMR Power of Sound, and he has a really rich voice and also just seems really caring in a lot of his role plays. He covers a lot of different jobs and mostly more kind of realistic role plays, but he does have some sort of amusing or out there ones. Like he had a Men in Black one and something else that referenced that in a later roleplay. You can see here there's a Bigfoot sighting, but quite a few of them are more standard, like dental, computer repair, someone having a bunch of different jobs, and sometimes he makes jokes about it being, you know, that person you keep seeing, and or kind of being connected. But his videos, like I said, feel really calming and caring, and if you want just a nice, deep, caring voice, it's a good person to listen to. And then here is the ever-famous Female Riff. So this is part of what I was talking about when I was saying ASMR artists that fill different interests and different niches. I largely listen to ASMR while I'm working a lot of times, and that's specifically when I'm doing sort of a long, tedious task that I don't need to largely think through and brainstorm, which I like to do in quiet, but something where I have the idea and I'm kind of just working through it, and I know it's going to take a while, and that can actually help me keep my focus. But there are some times where I use ASMR to fall asleep, and a lot of times with those I do more like the spa treatment ASMRs or things with like water sounds and very calming things like that. But Female Riffs are videos that I think are best worth watching when you just fully want to have an immersive, interesting ASMR experience. And as such, as much as I absolutely love his videos, I kind of don't get to watch him as often as other artists because of that. So he has really out there, interesting stories, a lot of them related to like the Lovecraft mythos and Cthulhu and Arkham Asylum, if you're into that science fiction, those science fiction stories, which I really enjoy. But then he also adds in his own stories and characters onto it, and he has just a lot of interesting reoccurring stories that kind of all tie together and almost like his own little universe, and he's willing to try odd things and weird triggers. And as I said, they're interesting, they're relaxing, but they're also kind of complex and cool enough that, given he's putting in all this effort, I feel like you really want to stop and stop what you're doing and actually just watch them. So if you want the time to do that and have a really neat experience, then he's really worth checking out. It's one of the most unusual ASMRtists you'll run into, and I think he's great at creating a compelling story. So this is Fred's voice, and there's a few different reasons you might like this channel, and one is more relaxing, like massage videos and stuff, but what I really love his channel for is actually not that. That's not normally what I use his videos for. He has this ongoing series called Rude English Gentlemen, and if you're someone who enjoys the sassy, rude, like back-talking sort of style of ASMR videos that you see some artists do, then I feel like no one covers that better than he does. For whatever reason that I can't fully understand, I absolutely love his Rude English Gentleman series, and whenever a new one comes out, I can't help but watch them. I honestly would love a like a suit fitting or something from this character, and even though he clearly wouldn't want to do, I mean, the character as he is clearly wouldn't want to do something for someone like me or you or such, and would be complaining about you the entire time. It just always turns out so amusing and enjoyable. I don't know. So I'd say check those out. They're a lot of fun. Also, he looks like Thor and has joked about that before and made some relevant videos. And again, has a very deep, relaxing, but sophisticated voice. So give him a check if you either want, like massage videos, Read English Gentleman videos, or even some other things, as he has had some nice variety. But I feel like the series I mentioned is where he really shines. This is Southern ASMR Sounds, and I personally feel that this is one of the best channels for helping you focus on a tedious task. She does a lot of different things, but one of the cool things she does that I like is going into stores and going up to shelves that are messy and then reorganizing them and straightening them out. So she'll do that with nail polish, or snacks, or really anything like that. That's a cool that she does. But she also has your more standard kind of role plays of all varieties. She has some role plays that are more silly and whimsical. Like one time she had a travel agency that had all kinds of ridiculous methods of getting somewhere. She's had ones, this Art Interstellar travel agency, that's a fun one. She's had all kinds of series where she's played out characters based on types of people she's dealt with in her life. One of which is the mother who thinks they know everything and tries to give you advice on your own life and children and such, and it's that kind of vegan, hippie, sort of everything holistic kind of character, and that's one that comes up a few times in her videos. So again, if you like that sort of ruder, invasive, well, not invasive, but pushy kind of character videos in your ASMR, similar to the Fred's voice, she has some great ones of those as well. But even if you don't, as I said, her organization videos are great for focusing. And when she's not playing that sort of character, she is a very calming person who, again, just seems very caring and is fun to listen to. One more series she has that I love, which I'm not seeing videos from right now. Oh, here it is. Obvious Roleplay. The idea of this is actually pretty brilliant. It's that you are an alien who's new to Earth and trying to fit into society. So she holds classes explaining to you like the basics of everyday things, like how a plate works, or like what markers are, or something like that. It says say string, but I'm not sure if there's a string one. It just was the first basic object that came to my mind. But yeah, there's a lot of fun things you can get here, and I think she's a nice, calming person and a fun presence. Let's see, this is Karuna Satori, and she puts out videos pretty frequently of all variety, but the one cool thing with her is she'll share some life stories, and she likes to call all of her listeners family and sort of treat them like that. And she's kind of been through a lot of things and is just sort of understanding of all kinds of people and likes comforting people. She also has some fun videos about like things from the 90s and stuff if you're into that. So as a whole, I would say that she has a lot of videos where she sort of feels like your friend or mentor, big sister. And if that sounds interesting to you, then go check it out. Next person I'm mentioning is Articulate Design, and he does a lot of job style ASMRs, but the big reason I'm mentioning him is that his always feel really researched and polished. Feels like he really gets into the job and even explaining it to you a little bit. And just from the first one I listened to, it just, you could tell the work that went into it, and it really drew me in. So if you want some nice, effort-filled job role plays, he's a good person to look into. And here I want to mention someone a bit lesser known. This is DNASMR, and he's done some videos, a lot of sort of makeup ones, some mentioning, I guess, like trendsetters and such, and makeup artists that I'm not so familiar with, but I thought he's kind of done a nice job with his videos. And has done things where he's brought in like his sister and stuff, and it feels more like he's kind of just getting into ASMR possibly, or making ASMR, and like not as sort of, this isn't an insult, but not as sort of polished and like extreme production quality that you'll get on some people who have been doing it for a really long time. And yet these sort of casual ASMR, where you see like a person there with their family and just kind of enjoying it and having fun making these videos, it has kind of a nice quality to it, and I think they're a fun watch. And then this here is Roberto. And this is someone else where if you want really sort of immersive worlds and characters, but on an extremely calming level. And this is someone you should really check out. I think he has fewer, but anything that mentions like the healer or the strange detour, definitely worth a listen to. The healer is a great character that I felt really compelled towards. So, if you want some nice old-fashioned fantasy with his own characters, in like a lot of kind of atmospheric sense to them, then he's definitely worth a listen. Next on my list is Phoenician Sailor, and actually, though I'm subscribed to him, this is someone that didn't quite land as well for me most of the time, though I do still enjoy some of his, but that I think a lot of people could really enjoy. And basically, if you don't mind, or if you're interested in an ASMR video where it's okay if it gets sort of philosophical, possibly a little political, and possibly just kind of into deeper discussions at times, then he's definitely someone you want to check out. Because he has some very cool role plays, though, yeah, some of them get a little bit deeper or darker or philosophical, as I mentioned, than most other artists tend to lean or tend to get into. And so if you want someone who's kind of might interject with some thoughts or ideas on things, or sort of it might have some more like satire in their videos, then it's a good person to check out. So this is Maddie Tingles, and this is one of those ones that's, again, good for relaxing, really. I guess it's good for both focusing and falling asleep too, but it is more on like the pure relaxing end, and this actually has some sound triggers for people who are into that, even though I mentioned that my list won't have a lot of those. He has a lot of things where he brings his interests into it, like he's actually a sneaker collector, so that will come up in some of his videos, but then he also has some cool role plays and some nice playing of sound, and I just find him pretty enjoyable. Has a bit of something for both the roleplay and the sound-focused side, and is pretty consistent, like presence in the community. He puts out a lot of videos, and also just seems like a supportive person. In fact, he had one about like interviewing for a fake company that was promoting ASMRtists and stuff, and yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay. So this is Goodnight Moon, and actually had a pretty specific reason I wanted to mention her, and that had to do with a few of her stories, like the Moss Drop Tea Shop and Mabel's Menagerie and such, where she also went high fantasy but went really deep into making a super kind of atmospheric background where it felt like you were in this made-up fantasy world, and the setting itself was extremely immersive. So it was really those sort of videos that put her over the edge to being one I wanted to mention, like, not here. But she does have a lot of cool role plays, like this potion brewing. Yes, if you like Babelbrook and that same kind of thing. So if you like fantasy with like nice immersion in the location and the setting, another great one for that. So this is Danny Dossel, and that's one of my favorite for kind of humor ASMR, sort of quirky. Basically none of his videos end up being normal or what you expect them to be. And one of his series is like the Backstreet whatever, where you have like the terrible doctor or the like sketchy whatever job it's supposed to be, like faking doing a horrible job on you, but it's sort of like to a ridiculous degree. And it has some amount of satire, but it didn't kind of linger the same way that Phoenician did for me. Like, I really enjoy a lot of his videos, and actually, I mean, it's not that I dislike satire, I just feel like with Phoenician, it's just gets into it longer than I want sometimes. But again, I feel like some people would really like that. And Danny's here. I think his videos are sort of the right sort of crazy to be really amusing to a lot of people, myself included. So if you want kind of a really quirky, offbeat sense of humor, then he's a great person to go to. So this is Fantasy ASMR, and she has awesome fantasy roleplay in an unexpected way. By that I mean she'll have like something that will seem kind of normal, like be a spa or a jewelry sale, and it turns out that you're like a ghost or a vampire or such, like at a spa for mythical creatures or something like that. And it'll be subtle, but really enchanting and interesting. I mean, some are more direct, like here's Queen rewards you for your bravery and such, but then there's other ones where it just brings in a little bit of magic. I'm not saying every single video will necessarily be secretly fantasy, but there's a lot that are quite like that. And I enjoy listening to her, as I said, even with her voice and stuff, it just sort of has like a bit of a magical air to these role plays, and it's a lot of fun. So here's an ASMR artist that I would also call really intellectual and artsy in a great way. Well, of course, I mean, I like nerdy things, but she covers things from literature, mythology, history. She has multiple things where she's done things from different time periods, and a lot of times she does do amusing satire with it. She also has a bit of a quirky, zany set of humor, which she doesn't always go into, but it'll show at times. And if you just kind of want really artistic, interesting ASMR that covers like a huge range of topics that you don't normally see, then I really think you should check Angela out. It's like here's said something with literature, relax with Mary Shelley, which is the author of Frankenstein. Here's some other Victorian horror like Dorian Gray, but that's just one set. Like she'll do sets and series on kind of all different things, and as I said, cover a bunch of topics which tend to lean towards academic, but at some point she even had like a Harvest Moon roleplay, which is a farming video game. And I think she had a Daria one too, so it's not just academic topics. And beyond that, she even has some of her own series that sometimes are continuous. Like, this bunny one was actually part of a woodland creature series, which was like an ongoing thing where you were trying to overthrow like an evil deer prince, and the different woodland animals were like disguising you and helping you out with that. It was pretty cool. Just gonna scroll through a little bit more. Let's see, like Dolly. This was an older ones of different time periods, so you see this goes from 1910 to 1990. A little bit of dark humor there. Nihilistic Lifestyle Insurance Salesman was the 1990s one. But yeah, she's definitely worth a look for kind of atypical artist. And she has somewhat of a mysterious persona. She barely responds to her comments, and that has taken notice, which I guess adds to it a little bit. This is one of my favorite for just when you really need to relax. This is Ting Ting, and she has one of the most calming voices. Her and Lotte, who I'm about to show you, just have really calming voices. So she actually has, let me see if I can find it. Someone's here that she does where she's like a Chinese empress or queen, and those ones are, well, not a queen, but, or was there one? No. She has like a Chinese empress character, and some things where she mentions like the Chinese herbal shop, or specifically mentions certain things, like if this is what I'm thinking of, she might mention like mooncakes and stuff, and it's kind of cool hearing some of that and seeing those sort of characters. But in general, she's just an amazingly calming character with some really immersive settings as well. Princess, that's what I was thinking of. She has a princess character here. Chinese princess. And since I mentioned Lotte, I'm gonna jump to her. This is the one I think that is overall like the most calming, and also has some of the best uses of props and settings, and we'll actually like set up a room sometimes to look like the location, not just like a green screen, and physically interact with it, and it's just so immersive to me. And it's a lot of personal attention and care, if that's what you're interested in. She's actually trilingual, so some of her videos will be posted in multiple languages, but there's pretty much always an English version. You can see here she has something in Korean, English, and Japanese. I think that's the three. Yeah, that's the three languages you'll see her speaking. I was saying I wasn't sure if she had any other that she knew, but no, I'm pretty sure I've only seen those 3. Which is a lot. More than quite a few can. But yeah, she has. Trying to find one of my favorites. There was one where it's like a nurse treating your wounds, and that used a lot of atypical triggers, including like wrapping bandages around your head. And that's it. Calm, peaceful time with nurse. This is probably my all-time favorite relaxation ASMR video ever from anyone. It's just so calming. I've re-listened to it several times. It makes great use of the space and like the curtain to make it look like you're actually in a closed-in hospital square. And it uses like alcohol to your forehead sounds, the gauze sounds. It's completely, like the personal attention is completely relaxing and has so many cool triggers. But really anything where she's like taking care of you or giving you personal attention or helping you out, it's gonna just be an amazingly relaxing experience. So yeah, my last person is Tony Bomboni, and this was one of the first ASMRtists that I really was drawn to. And he just kind of covers the gambit with his role plays, but seems to really get into them. He does use a lot of green screen backgrounds, but you know, he uses quite a variety of them. He gets different ones that fit the setting. And really whatever you want to find, listen to, you can find quite a few of here. And he also is willing to do some less typical role plays and try out things you don't normally see. Definitely think he's worth checking out and that you'll probably find something you enjoy. So it's been a while since I started making this video because I couldn't really find a free video editor that worked, and there was a part that I needed to cut out before. But I finally found something, so I thought I would finish making this video and add a little part on at the end because there's a few things I wanted to comment on and also a few new people I wanted to add. It's no longer going to be my first video, of course, since I posted a few afterwards that I didn't need any editing for. And I intend to continue the pony series, and I have a few other ideas of other things to make. It'd be a little bit slow, but I'm enjoying it, and hopefully they'll keep going, and hopefully I'll actually be able to get some equipment for it eventually. So, anywho, one more correction, or clarification more so. When I talked about DNASMR, I was saying, when I mentioned he had makeup artists and trendsetters, I mentioned about it being ones I wasn't so familiar with. I didn't mean that they weren't well known. I actually meant that I'm not familiar with that topic to begin with, so I don't really know any of those sorts of people. They probably are well known, I'm not sure. But, yeah. It's still kind of cool to listen to. The role plays. And even if it's a topic I don't know as much about, it's still interesting to see other people's interests and see how they portray different things, and yeah. So I have 4 new ones to suggest, and they still might not be for everyone, but like all the rest, I'm going to explain kind of what the appeal is of them, and you can decide if it fits to your tastes. I'm sorry I didn't do a lot of pure sound channels. That's not really something I know a whole lot about personally, because it's not really what I ever kind of listen to and check out. Actually, I just thought of one I can add. So, I think I'm going to surprise you at the end. Let me load that up and put it to the side. I have multiple monitors currently, so I can put it aside and bring it over. Well, it's pure sound and visual, I suppose I should say, because these are also very visually satisfying videos, the one I'm going to show. And hopefully this means I'll cover a good enough variety. Here, I'm just actually gonna quickly put that there. You sort of got a sneak peek, but I'll explain what it is after. Okay, so here is ASMR, which is someone I found actually pretty soon after I made the last videos, and this isn't the sort of stuff I normally listen to, in the sense that it's like portraying individual types of characters hanging out with you with just voice and no video, but I thought he did a really sweet job with them. All of them are friends, like hanging out with your friends or giving you advice, and they just have a really sort of charming, close, well, slightly dorky quite often, personality to them. One that directly does, obviously, is Visit to a Dorky Dragon's Den. It's a really sweet one. Yeah, stuff like a polite vampire feeds on you, which is actually really cool, because like the vampire was like thanking you for your donation and was like helping you out. And it's just actually kind of an interesting take on a lot of them. And I know a lot of people who do these sorts of character voice role plays often do it like purely for almost all dating simulations, and his aren't really like that most of the time. Most of them are like friends or helping you different things or talking with you, which is I found cool and I liked more. He does have one that's a date night with an anime cat boy, but listening to it, it's really adorable and less like awkward and romancy and more like a cat lazing about and being a cat and like a cat boy, I mean, and like asking you to go like pick out a movie and stuff like that, and yeah. Mm-hmm. They're all really sweet, and he just has such like a friendly, charming voice and has some pretty interesting ideas. Next is Meowling, and she has some similarities to Lotte in that she does a lot of really nice things with physical items and backgrounds, and also has like some sort of overwhelmingly calming like personality and way of talking, which is awesome. Lotte is one of my favorites, so when I found her, I kind of had to show this. She doesn't have as many videos, but they're kind of great so far. And my favorite was this warm sleep clinic here. It had a lot of parts to it. So it started out with like you getting some calming food to eat and looking for a pretty watercolor picture while you're waiting to be let in. And you go in, and she had like different sorts of treatments for you and talked about like why you've had trouble sleeping. It was just such a sweet, calming video with some really interesting things. So definitely suggest checking her out. You just want a nice, calm, relaxing time. So that is Meowling. Now, the next two are gonna be definitely not for everyone, and possibly a little bit weird. These are actually people doing ASMR in like fursuit costumes, but even if that's not something you personally have a great interest on, I think these are really great ASMRtists. So this is Peaceful Parrot ASMR, and it's really cool because she has like these long, narrow, like feathery hands, which I think are just great for ASMR. And she's really friendly. It's just sort of kind of an interesting experience. And she does things like, here she is looking through the art of Rio and talking, like the movie, and talking to you about it. Here she's showing you her plush parrots, but there's also just some nice relaxing talking, and there's such like a pretty face to it, the parrot, and I just think it's really nice. So if you're okay with that, give it a shot, and if not, then I have plenty of other suggestions here. And this here is the second of those. This is actually a Korean channel. It has subtitles though. This is Roberto, which is actually a word for a type of werewolf-like creature. And he's this cute little wolf that's anthropomorphic. He doesn't have a lot of videos, but they're just really interesting and really calming for me, and obviously something very different, so I just wanted to talk about them. So there's one of them here, I believe, where he goes in and it's the guy pretending to bring his wolf to the groomer, and they start out talking about the type of dog cuts he can get, and then he like grooms the fursuit, and it's just really relaxing. And then a few of these he actually likes doing sort of ear cleaning on you. It's kind of really calming ear cleaning with this just like really cute, sort of eager to help little wolf character who just has this super sweet, calm voice. And I don't know, I think it's adorable. I'm sure it's not for everyone. You know, that's kind of right there is sort of like a scary cover picture, but that was actually just a bit of a joke. Because he was saying like a joke about the fact that you went to an ear cleaning shop and like had a wolf there that's gonna do your ear cleaning for you, but no, nothing bad happens. It's just a super relaxing video, and is just ultra adorable. And this last one I'm showing you, it's technically unintentional ASMR, but I'm not even sure it's that unintentional. It's just everything in it is so satisfying, both visually and sound-wise. And this is actually a series, but I wanted to show you this one in particular. Well, this as a starting point, and it is also where I was able to load it from most easily. But basically, they go and carve out kitchen knives out of all kinds of material. And there's minimal talking, it's all just really nice sounds. And they test them out and like show how sharp they are and stuff like that. And you don't need to worry about this being in Japanese because it's like I said, minimal talking, you can fully understand what's going on. So here is, I believe, like a Jello kitchen knife, if that's the video I think it is. This was a bismuth one, and this one is a UV resin kitchen knife. So also it shows you the title in English when you click on it. I'm not sure why they're all in Japanese right here. So this one, see, it's tape. But yeah, they go through. I'm just gonna skip and show you a little bit quickly. They go through like all the steps of preparing the different materials, and like this one he's pouring resin. And I just wanted to show you how satisfying this kitchen knife looked at the end. you do get different sorts of sounds, because there is the thing where he has to, like, drop water on it when he uses this, like, cute little water squirter, so that's why I'm wondering if he is going for ASMR aestheticism on purpose or not, even though it doesn't say it's an ASMR channel. Here's some nice rubbing sounds as he's preparing that. He, like, sharpens and preps the knife. Just look how gorgeous that is. I found this entire video completely satisfying, and as I said, they have a lot of other cool things that they make knives out of, so I think that's an interesting, cool, relaxing thing if you want a focus on sounds and visuals. So hopefully that widened my spectrum some, and I hope you all find things you really like. Oh, and just a reminder of the name, it's Kiwami Japan. I almost said Kiwami Japanese. It's Kiwami Japan. Well, thank you all. I hope you enjoy, and I hope you have some new artists to check out.